Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out here in our fenced-in garden area, and this is the first day that we're out here working. This is our first day of gardening out here, and the weeds have grown up through the fabric, the holes in the fabric that we plant in. The weeds have really grown through that the last couple months. So we're pulling all the weeds out, we're getting everything cleaned up, we're cleaning up the raised beds, pulling all the weeds in there. We're trying to get the garden ready so we can plant all our plants this year. And the big job that we're going to do today is I'm actually going to pull the fabric up and we're going to rearrange it. We're going to make it so that we're not planting our corn, like our sweet corn, in the exact same spot, and our beans are in a different spot. We're going to do a little bit of a crop rotation, and each one of these pieces of fabric has like a different hole size, hole pattern, spacing, and it's made for a certain plant. So we're going to move that fabric around so that we move our, we plant in a different spot. But before we get into that and start pulling this fabric up, let me take you around the garden real quick. I'll show you the stuff that we do have growing out here, and just show you how everything's doing. So we've already gone through the fabric. I think we got most of it cleaned up and most of the weeds pulled. But one thing that we did find is I planted some stuff in the fall. I planted some broccoli and some stuff. And right here that survived the winter time is a beautiful head of bib lettuce. I think this is either like some butter crunch lettuce or some little Jim lettuce. But that is a beautiful little bunch of lettuce there. So we'll end up harvesting that today. We'll take that inside and we'll use that for some salad. So that was a nice surprise to have out here. So over here's our garlic that we planted in the fall and overwintered it. And this is our first time doing the hardneck garlic, and this is our first time actually having garlic scapes. So right here, this is a garlic scape, and I guess you pull these out, and we'll pull these out here later, and it's basically be like a green onion that you can cut up and use in cooking. It may have more of a garlic flavor to it, but there's a bunch of these garlic scapes that are on the plants. So plan on harvesting some of those and try to see if we can use those in some cooking. Probably one of the best looking things in here is our strawberry bed. It is just erupting with blooms, and there might actually be a few strawberries in here starting to form. But you can see how, I don't know, how thick the strawberries are. You see all the old last year ones hanging over the edge. We'll probably cut those all off. But the strawberries just like to spread. So the strawberries coming out on this side over here, and you can tell on this next raised bed that they're already starting to fill in this next raised bed. They're spreading out. But yeah, these strawberries are looking fantastic. So this long raised bed right here, this is probably going to be the toughest one to weed because there is some plants in here we want to keep. So all this green stuff in this location is sage. We've got a little bit more sage that's right in here, and there's just a few herbs and stuff mixed up in here. We had a bunch of sunflowers in here last year, and it's just kind of overgrown with weeds. So, since the sunflowers are real tall, they don't really fill out a bed. And then over here at this side, we've got some cilantro that's come up. We've got a few stalks here. We've got a little bit of cilantro back there. We're gonna try to save that. And then here is the onions that we took, our small onions from last year, and we replanted them in the fall. And yeah, some of these are actually doing real well. They've got a real nice thick stalk on them. So some of these are ready to be harvested. Since they did overwinter and they were probably, over a year old, some of them are going to start going to seed. I've seen one here that had a seed head on it, so we'll have to pick it right there. There's a seed head. So this one we'll probably pick, and we'll use that inside in the kitchen here pretty soon. So right here is the chestnut seedlings that we grew last year. We didn't plant them all, so I overwintered them in their pots covered in wood chips, hoping that they would stay moist and that they would overwinter. And every one of them ended up coming back. This one's probably the worst looking one. It only has a couple small leaves on it. And I've already sold 6 of them. So I've sold 6 you see missing there. They're sold, but I'm gonna have to get these moved out of the garden. I'm gonna try to get all these wood chips cleaned up and finally get all the wood chips out of here. So we're gonna have to get this all picked up. So we got that big pile of wood chips. We've got that moved out of the garden now. Took that over to the orchard, dumped it on a few of the trees. Of course, a bucket full of those wood chips is way too much for one tree. So we'll go back later. We'll probably spread that out amongst 2 or 3 more of the trees that are nearby and get that all raked out. But right now we're gonna go ahead and start putting our fabric back down, and we're gonna rearrange it, put it back down. We'll get most of it down today, may not get all of it down today, but if we can at least get enough down so we can start planting our garden, that'd be fantastic. I do have another roll of new fabric so that we can eventually cover all the way over to that side and get the whole thing covered this year. So let's go ahead and start getting this fabric down. It seems like, you know, every year when we mess with this fabric, it seems to be like a really windy day. It seems like I never mess with fabric unless the wind is blowing. And that makes it fairly difficult when you're trying to hold that stuff flat on the ground. So we'll see how this goes. Holy cow. This ain't gonna go good.
That's why we put so many staples in it last time.
Why can't we ever have a wind from that direction? Maybe we should be on that side coming this way. So we're fighting the wind, trying to lay the ground cover down this direction. So we're gonna change plans. We're gonna roll out a piece over here. We're gonna work this direction, and hopefully the wind will work with us instead of against us. So this is the piece I accidentally hit the trigger on the torch and I melted a big hole in it. Oh, see, I hit the trigger. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this piece of fabric out of it because I've got plenty of length here and I can overlap. So I think we're done working on the garden today. It has been a long day today, and the wind was just fighting us the whole time trying to lay that ground cover down. Once we did end up starting to work from this direction over here, at least the wind didn't fight us as bad. It still fought us, but we were able to get the majority of it down. We got about 6 feet over here on this side that still needs to be put down, and then we'll have the whole garden completely covered with the ground cover. We've never had that done before. We've always had some areas that wasn't covered and weeds would grow up, and we had that big wood chip pile that's been in the way for the last couple of years. So it was nice to actually be able to fit the tractor in here. The TYM tractor was just narrow enough to fit in between these posts, get in here and scoop up all those wood chips. Now my other tractors they're wider. There's no way the other tractors would have fit in between these fence posts. So I was glad to get that wood chip pile finally out of here. It's kind of been an eyesore, just kind of a pain. I wish I never would have ended up putting it there. So I think I thought originally that I would use all those wood chips and do more of a, what do you call that, back to Eden style garden, that I would make an area with wood chips, and that just never ended up happening. So, but I'm glad that all those wood chips are gone now, and hopefully we'll get this whole thing covered up. So anyway, I think that is it for today. The wind has been bad, the flies have been bad, and it's just been out here sunny. I'll probably end up with a sunburn when this is all over with. I know Rebecca will. So I tried to get her to put on sunscreen, and she's stubborn. That's how she is. So tomorrow I'm going to hear her complain about her sunburn. She just wait and see. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Hopefully I get back out here tomorrow. and finally get some plants in the ground. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Did
in
it
my-
go down
It
your
went in my
boots?
boot.